you know, compared to some of the other predictions that we've seen. So a lot of fans coming out here, and we are officially live. Starting off with Cypher, playing that Sorlag. And key areas that you're going to want to keep an eye on in this matchup, as k1llsen's going to get that first frag. Quick orb to kind of get out of the LG of Cypher, and k1llsen's up 1-on. And look at where k1llsen's at. He's going to probably spend, or try to be spending, a lot of time up there in that middle area. You control that railgun, you can get clear shots, you know where the spawns are, so just keep an eye out for that. If it's the first time you're kind of watching this matchup, what I'm excited to see is how will Cypher use Sorlag if k1llsen has control, and how will Cypher control if he is currently the one holding on to that control grasp on the match.
Getting rail is so important on this map. I think that's one of the key things we've already seen, one of the big takeaways so far. And that's exactly what Cypher did after respawn, right? The moment that k1llsen left, he went all in, secured himself the railgun. And now both players are adopting a pretty disciplined, slow-paced approach to this matchup. Definitely not the way that Cypher played it against Dramas. This is much more like k1llsen versus Avik. And k1llsen is doing the exact same thing he did back then. Carefully picking his angles and just murdering his opponent with the railgun weed, and it's working out brilliantly.
Wow, even went in aggressive off the spawn with an orb, and then 2 more rails, and Cypher running away. And you mentioned how crucial the railgun is, not only to try to take back control there, but also to run the spawns the way that k1llsen is running them right now. He's up by 3, and we're just a minute and a half into this game. Cypher just looking for some sort of a break, and k1llsen is not willing to give him one with another frag into the heavy. And he's going to make it 4-0. And he is running this a little bit different than he is. Oh, are you serious right now? Like,
he's at 100% rail after 16 shots fired. That is absolutely unheard of. Sometimes you have like 100% after maybe 5 rails. k1llsen did that for over 1,000 points of damage. That is not sweet.
My. This is right. Remember we were talking about, oh, k1llsen's like, I'm playing at 70%. If he wins this, I'm gonna ask what percentage were you at today, because that is bonkers, Flea. And even now, oh, he missed a couple shots, down to 94%. He's obviously been putting a lot of time into practicing the angles here. They are perfect when it comes to the rail. There we're gonna have another orb coming out, and I just don't see a pick that makes more sense than Ranger on this map, and k1llsen continues to show that for the 2nd week in a row.
That was the first bit of damage that k1llsen has done with the rocket so far. He had 0 damage with LG, 0 damage with rockets, 1,500 damage with railgun. 2.5 minutes into this map, just completely ignoring 2/3 out of the unholy trinity and making it all about that rail. And Cypher just doesn't have an answer to it. Cypher doesn't have a railgun right now. All he can do is sit down there, hopefully take away the heavy. He won't be able to, and just dies.
You know what's going to get real interesting, Flea, is that eventually players are going to go up against k1llsen, and they are just going to be like, this map is not allowed, or they're going to have to ban a character, and it's going to probably change the outcome of other maps. It's not like this is the only one that k1llsen's good on, but you know, clearly players have an advantage, and another nice frag to make it 10, but clearly players have an advantage if a new map comes out and they put the time and effort into it. There's a champion flow to figure out, there's angles and shots to figure out, and k1llsen has clearly put into the time, right? That might change as we go on to map 2 and map 3, especially with Blood Covenant being in there, but I mean, k1llsen is the major boss that I think every player needs to be looking at and thinking about taking down when it comes to Insomnia. This is just absolutely you know, just top-notch Quake. It's pretty rare when you have a 10-0 score, but I'm so excited about what I'm seeing right now.
I like how you were like, players are eventually going to say that this map is a no-go against k1llsen. I'm pretty sure that it already is. After today, it is clear that that's resolved.
Last week, Flea, honestly, I was like, there's no way that this map is going to come in if anyone watched the tape from last week, but I was wrong.
Well, I mean, you don't always have the ability to ban the map first. It comes down to the luck of the draw sometimes. So expect to see it more often against k1llsen, but I think that no one is going to allow it in the pool as long as they can avoid it.
Yeah, well, k1llsen's given a course here on why. 13-0. We're halfway through. Make it 14-0 with another mid-air orb coming out. And k1llsen is giving away free lessons right now, Flea. And Cypher is no pushover by any means. And that's why it's even more insane to see this type of play versus such a seasoned player like Cypher. Now, is it possible he hasn't put in the reps on the map? Absolutely, it's possible. But this is just unheard of. At this point, could you imagine if said, Flea, did you see that Cypher k1llsen game where at the 10-minute mark it was 0-32? And nope, it's not going to happen because Cypher picks up his first frag. Let's see what he can do with it.
I mean, there is still time. We've heard it quite often when it comes to Quake, but is there really? Wait, is there really still time for a 16 frag comeback against k1llsen, who is playing like this? I very much doubt it.
I mean, you know, you'd have to essentially match a 76% rail that k1llsen is still shooting now after all of this time. And what's pretty clear to me is even when Cypher's been able to win these battles, which unfortunately is a bit because of just brute force, as we have more rockets coming in, Cypher is, once again, kind of getting in the face of k1llsen, and that seems to be yielding some frags here. But 3-17, k1llsen has clearly been able to find the frag and then figure out control. And, you know, k1llsen has a huge league now, so it's going to be a little bit tougher for Cypher, but we haven't seen Cypher really show how he could be controlling on this matchup yet. There's another frag. I mean, he is bringing it back, but still 3 minutes for several frags. This is not good.
He just needs to be able to match the intensity with the railgun, but that's so much easier said than done.
Yeah.
Especially given how good k1llsen has been on that front himself. And k1llsen knows that if he just plays this carefully, sets up with just a super shotgun, a rocket, and the orb at hand, even if Cypher just catches him off guard, he can still cripple any momentum that the Belarusian player might have. See, again, just carefully lining up the angle. Cypher was making a play for the Mega right there. k1llsen says, nope, back down you go. And that's how many seconds burned, Wheat? Seconds that he really doesn't have?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Cypher now on the heels once again of k1llsen, but very, very low. Taking that middle area, and k1llsen with another rail to bring it back in his court. Now, I want to say, you know, what do you think in terms... Ranger, right, I think we can both agree, clearly a phenomenal pick here on Insomnia.
Yep.
Like, it could just the way to go. The question is when your opponent gets Ranger, do you think Sorlag is still a good choice here? And you know, this is coming down more to map knowledge, map shot knowledge, and just control. But what do you think about alternative champ versus Ranger here? So I guess what I'm asking.
I mean, I feel like Ranger and Sorlag have almost become a bit of the meta so far. We've seen this duo picked so often on Insomnia already. So far, Ranger has been dominating that, and I'm fully with you, Wheat. The utility that Sorlag has been adding is quite limited, especially when you're out of control. There's just not that much that the air control has been doing so far, and neither has the spit. So thinking about alternative champions, Ketchup, for example, mentioned earlier Athena, I think could be a very powerful pick on this as well. That ramp jump gives you a lot of freedom here. Nyx, I could also see working quite well. And depending on which parts of the map you play on, something like maybe, I don't know, a BJ or a Keel holding down these small choke points could work out quite well.
Yeah.
Problem is that there's still a lot of these, you know, longer angles, right? Where those big body champions just kind of fall apart when it comes down to these railgun engagements. So it is really difficult. The Ranger seems to be the S pick, or the S tier pick on the map so far.
For sure. SSS tier pick. It's unreal. So I also have another question. I'll hold it for when we get to the final seconds, as we are here. But Cypher is going to land a nice rocket there. But one more frag he does manage to get. That means the final score is going to be, what was that, 6-25? I missed.
Yep.
I missed there. 6-25. So when was the last time that you saw a professional shoot 74% rail with 55 shots fired?
That's been a while. That's been a while, right? We saw a similar amount of shots being fired earlier in one of the previous matches. It was a Sparty or Cygip, I believe, on Deep Embrace that was, but they had nowhere near the same level of accuracy. So that is absolutely insane. And I think it's just a testament to how familiar and comfortable k1llsen already is on this map. He has clearly put in the time and effort to learn the angles and to really familiarize himself with the optimal positions to take for these railgun fights. So brilliant plays by the Germans so far, extremely well-deserved victory, and things are not looking good for Cypher. Now, I don't expect any of the other maps to snowball the way that Insomnia did, but I don't know. If k1llsen can keep up some of this momentum, Cypher could be in trouble. I also hope that Cypher switches his champion, because right now okay, yeah, never mind. He was on a different champion in the lobby, so
you know, look, map knowledge, it's something that it takes time to build. You don't play a map one time and then suddenly like, I got it, right? I mean, these players can break these maps down in such an intense way, but there's a lot of ways that you're figuring out. You're figuring out the angles, you're figuring out champ picks, you're figuring out control and how to regain control. There's all these elements, and clearly k1llsen isn't lit. But yeah, I think Cypher just needs to erase the whiteboard on this one. Say, all right, we have to start, right? I know Awoken. I'm familiar with Awoken. I'm familiar with Blood Covenant. I've been playing it for like 15 years now. He just has to put that map behind him. Unfortunately, this is the advantage that any player can get when a new map is thrown into the map pool. You pick it up early, you start to master it. I'm not saying like that's how someone's going to advance further, but you rack up a few of those wins early on, and it's beneficial to what could happen in the, you know, the end game of it all, or just to give yourself a little bit more wiggle room over the course of the season. But Cypher is a player who can lock it down, who can bring this back. Not saying that's what's going to happen, but I think like the real match starts right here.
Absolutely. Now, Cypher is, of course, a veteran of the scene, an absolute titan who's been around for God knows how many years. He is not going to be too bothered by that, right? He will not carry that into map 2 or 3. He will be able to reset, know that, okay, it's a new map, I'm not that experienced on it yet. k1llsen clearly is. Now we're going back to the more familiar territory. Here I can just go back to the fundamentals, play the maps that I know, and hopefully for him it will amount to something more.
Yeah. And I think it will. I mean, I think as a player like Cypher, he's like, all right, well, whatever. I can't have expected to put my best foot forward if I wasn't quite ready for that, and everything could change right here. So we are going live through Cypher's eyes. He's going to get spawned over by the Mega, and we'll see what's going to happen as he's like, all right, want to get that rail, maybe even keep it out of k1llsen's hands, although that's pretty tough to do here consistently over. Well, I guess no, he already has one, so it doesn't matter anyway. Cypher, though, answering back with a couple of nice rails, taking a play out of k1llsen's book, and already Cypher feels, I think, a lot more comfortable on a map like this, one that he's played many, many times. He's got a lot of experience on. Another great rail. Is he going to be able to follow up with one? Does get right up in the face of k1llsen, and then the machine gun to get the frag. Also, the Mega off to spawn there, and Cypher's on the board, 1-0.
Now, k1llsen only has a railgun to work with. I think that Cypher is aware of that as well. Now, he does get himself a rocket and is slowly making his way onto LG. I think Cypher was trying to set a bit of a trap right there, just waiting on LG, seeing if k1llsen would show his face, but k1llsen very careful, not going to be caught off guard. Is playing the way he likes to play. Keep control of the center area of the map. I think that's really just one of those things that summarizes k1llsen's playstyle. He likes to position himself like a turret and orchestrate the flow of the game from there.
Agreed. And you made mention earlier about the very close game that they had the last time they played, and this pacing is very indicative of that game that you are speaking of right now, which is great. I mean, two players that clearly respect one another, and that's exactly what we're seeing unfold here. But k1llsen is playing, I mean, he has completely changed things up from the last game, and he obviously knows that he's probably not going to be able to do the same thing that he did in map number 1 on Insomnia. So I like the respect that we're seeing by both players.
Such a slow opener. Cypher still has that 1 frag of a lead. But that's essentially nothing over a 10-minute game. Oh! k1llsen dropping. Will he be able to get the frag that Rail would have killed?
Oh.
Both players are weak. Cypher has to get out of there. I see no way in which he survives. That is a bad situation to lose a frag in, because now k1llsen took away Heavy and Mega. There's a nice delay between the items, 10 seconds.
Oh!
That was much closer than it had any right to be.
Yeah, I mean, I thought with the peeker coming out, he's in a perfect spot. Now, Cypher did pick it back up to tie it up 2-2. But you're absolutely right. That was just not the place. And I thought Cypher actually had a great bead with his LG and was going to be able to pick up that fight. But k1llsen played it very well, shooting those rockets and getting the bounce. And it was nicely done. We're 3 minutes in. We're tied 2-2. And I expect this one to stay close.
Fully agree with you there. Both players approaching this extremely methodically. Good amount of tribal damage right there. I like what Cypher did, using the wall as cover to push in and get close, right? As k1llsen was still firing that second tribal shot. Ultimately didn't amount to much. Oh, wait, I don't know how I feel about these peekers though. I feel like Cypher is taking a hell of a lot of risk. Just deploying the robot in the middle of the fight like that, leaving himself vulnerable to damage. It can work out, it can be a great distraction. We've seen him do a lot of damage with it too, but it can go wrong so easily as well.
Oh, the rocket and the oh, but Cypher does pick it back up, tying it yet again. He is very, very low. He'll pick up the light and a health, get back up to about 79. And I agree, Flea, these peekers have not been the most incredible things that we have seen. And you know, I'm not sure why they've come out the way that they have with Cypher, but I think, you know, being safe, like k1llsen's definitely going to try to capitalize on that if he can. Now has to back away as his armor stacks down to 6. We do have Heavy up, but k1llsen is there. Cypher fires the rail, but knows he has got to get out of there. k1llsen with the advantage. Now there's a great rocker into the peeker. Rocket, and it's not going to stop k1llsen from getting that Mega though, and k1llsen's got pretty nice control right now.
Finally, Cypher secures the LG. He had been going without that weapon ever since the last frag week. He was unable to take any fight at medium range. So all he had to do was use cover, go for a rail, send out the peeker, but he really was unable to just go toe-to-toe with k1llsen because he lacked that one weapon. Oh, beautiful by k1llsen. Perfect read on where Cypher is going to go. Luckily, Cypher did do a fair bit of damage still, but it wasn't enough to stave off k1llsen's assault. And now it is the German player representing Team Big who's got the lead.
We just hit the half-minute mark, and oh, there it is, the LG to clean that one up. k1llsen takes a 2-frag lead, largest lead since we've seen since the beginning of this matchup. And although we hit the halfway point, Flea, it felt like this match has already been going on for 10 minutes. Like, that is the pace that we're kind of experiencing right now. But again, it stays that pace. LG from k1llsen into the rail. Cypher, though, keeping at it, and it will not work out for him as k1llsen just switches to the machine gun to take him out. And this lead, I'm a little worried for Cypher here at this point. Another great pair of rockets to take him down to sub 25. And k1llsen's playing this one nice. He is feeling more and more comfortable, and he is capitalizing on those frags. Once again, controlling that middle really well.
Still 56% railgun accuracy by k1llsen. Cypher comparably at 53. But overall, the damage has been going in k1llsen's favor, and even more so, it's been the item pickups that have really been ending up in the hands of the German. Now that's a really good rocket from Cypher.
74 damage. Like, how?
Yeah.
It was great. The pillar was his friend, and he can't pick up the heavy off of that, though, Flea, unfortunately. I mean, he could have, but it would have been a huge risk. And coming in, sliding around the corner, bounced around by a bunch of rockets, and does the dance around the pillars to pick up the frag. And this is going to be a crucial moment. The Mega is scooped up, and there's the LG for Cypher to get another frag. He's very, very low, though, needs to be careful. But Cypher desperately needed that frag to try to keep it closer, not let k1llsen gain any more of a lead.
I was really worried that Cypher didn't pick the LG in the previous fight. I don't know why he didn't. He could have saved himself a lot of stack, I think, with an earlier switch, and now he's trailing by 4 whole frags. k1llsen is just counter-punching, it feels like, and very effectively too. Seems like Cypher is the one who ends up in the bad situation, the bad position, and k1llsen just has to pluck the results.
I kind of like this aggression coming out by Cypher. I mean, it's working. He has been able to yield a few frags off of it. He's going to take away that heavy, but then get tagged with a rail from k1llsen. Trying to fire those back up. That peaker does go up. There's just a little bit of damage before it's railed. The scoreline is 3 in favor of k1llsen. Cypher still needs several frags to try to tie this one back up, and the clock is ticking away. I expect to see k1llsen try to slow it down a little bit, but Cypher, I think, very comfortable with this champ here on this map, and there is a great LG battle for him. Huge amount of health and armor coming off of that one, and this could be the moment for Cypher.
Absolutely, that frag came at just the right time to secure both of the major items. Just has to be careful because he doesn't have a railgun yet. Can't really go for the long distance fight, doesn't have to. Yeah, k1llsen kind of whiffing his shots right there, Cypher rather, dodging in between them. Oh, caught off guard! k1llsen setting up a nice little trap. Oh, that rocket. k1llsen kind of played himself right there. That last rocket gave Cypher the speed boost to fly through the teleporter, and k1llsen was not expecting him to come through so quickly. Oh, out comes the punch.
I mean, we're seeing like a completely different Cypher in the second half. He is hitting more shots. He's being very aggressive, but not, not like dumb aggressive, like smart aggressive. And I like to see that, as he should take advantage of that movement that he's got here as well. Oh, a beautiful rocket from k1llsen through the window and greets him on the other side, tying it back up with a minute left to go.
That was immaculate, that rocket. Absolute beauty. And now k1llsen, once again in the lead. Oh, Cypher, perhaps a bit too careless jumping into the room. That's a lot of LG damage that he cannot afford to take, especially because k1llsen has got an item to fall back on. Cypher doesn't. k1llsen can easily loop back around, go for the small armor, go for the heavy now too. Cypher doesn't really have that luxury. He has to throw himself at that item. Pays off. Now he has to fight k1llsen once again, and k1llsen has the Berserk available, so he can just pop it and run away if he needs to. Yet he won't.
I think it's over. I mean, like, without a rail, there it is. It is over 10-12, and in that last moment, there were so many just like moments in time where if Cypher did have a rail, he could have at least taken the shot. But he had an LG, he had a machine gun, he had a rocket, and k1llsen knew it, and he was able to just position himself. So what are you gonna do? I can dodge your rockets from the time. Cypher did try to go in. He did try to get a little bit more aggressive. It was an excellent match. I thought for certain that the momentum that we saw Cypher pick up in that second half was possibly going to take him to a victory, but he doesn't. k1llsen shuts him down with that absolutely gorgeous rocket through the window that nailed Cypher to take the 11-10 scoreline and then finally get another frag for the win. That will give him the series. We're still going on to the third map, but that was what I expected out of a k1llsen Cypher matchup for sure.
I hope we can see the rocket from k1llsen's point of view still. I'm not sure if we will, but that would be sweet. And now, yeah, indeed, Wheat was a much closer game. Back and forth till the bitter end. The lack of a railgun I think that was indeed a big deciding factor in that final minute. Cypher had a few opportunities to deal damage, but he just lacked the weapon to do so consistently. And k1llsen, meanwhile, played a very strong defensive game. And of course, this is k1llsen we're talking about. He's never just going to pick up shop and run, stay clear from his opponent. He is going to be bombarding you with rails, with rockets, everything he can to disrupt that flow of the chase. And he did so beautifully. Cypher, much better showing than on map 1, of course. I think there were a few situations toward the end where he was perhaps a bit too reckless, right? Like that push into the mega room, for example. You know, you take a blind jump around the corner. If k1llsen's there, that LG, it's like you're hitting a wall, Wheat. You just freeze in place, absolutely momentum, completely shredded, and you take so much damage. And then k1llsen has mega to fall back on, a small armor, and the heavy. And that really just sentenced Cypher to that loss. But still, looking much better than he did in the first map, so he's got a good shot at bringing it back for map 3 and at least securing himself one map win.
That's 6-25. Yeah, the other thing I just wanted to mention, Flea, because you brought it up earlier in the match, we had a couple of peaker uses that really, the one by the rail and then the one in the middle right in front of the jump pad, and those were pretty early in the game, and they certainly improved. I think Cypher was realizing like k1llsen was just going to move in on him when he did that, but it did have an effect overall. So it's unfortunate for Cypher there, but it was still a great game. That comeback was real. Also just goes to show how k1llsen played that one perfectly to make sure he was going to be able to get that frag and then capitalize on a great shot. But going to Blood Covenant, we've got the Visor versus the Slash. What do you think about this one going into it?
Very interesting matchup. I think that Cypher is going to be so careful that he doesn't fall behind again, because if he has to chase k1llsen while k1llsen is running Slash, it is going to be hell, Wheat. He has nothing in terms of movement ability. He's just playing a normal medium champion, doesn't have anything to close the distance. Yes, he's got the piercing sight, so he can try to set up some traps, shoot a few prediction rails, line up, or shoot a few prediction rockets and line up the rail rather, but still, k1llsen is so hyper aware of the map that if he gets the lead, I think he can just run circles around his opponent and steer clear of Cypher till the end.
I also expect Rail to be a big player in this one too, as both players seem to be pretty warm up, but can make the difference here. And a big aggressive move coming out by Cypher right here from the beginning. He knows his opponent's low, but so is he. The LG can't finish him off, switches to the machine gun, not gonna happen. Heading on over to the heavy now. Does manage to get a little bit more, a few more shots, but you're already seeing that movement come into play. Cypher incredibly low. He's going to stick around, maybe go for that mega, and he will, as k1llsen is going to pick up the heavy. But some fast-paced action here to start us off. However, nothing on the scoreboard quite yet as we hit our first minute here on Blood Covenant.
I'm pretty sure that k1llsen heard the mega pickup, knows that there's a sizable delay. If he gets the frag here now, which he should, Cypher might be in trouble, because k1llsen should have the time to secure them both. He's even going to deny the small armor here. Oh, luckily for Cypher, k1llsen doesn't have rockets, so he can't rocket jump up and go for the next item in a straight line. So that should still allow Cypher to just put up a blockade, secure the mega for himself. But if k1llsen had one rocket right there, Wheat, I think we would be seeing a very different situation right now.
Yeah, and he did finally get himself some rockets, and I'm just watching through k1llsen's point of view. It's just, you know, the speed here and just how comfortable and how much he's gliding. It does make me worried for exactly what you're talking about, which is if k1llsen continues to increase the scoreline, it becomes very difficult. k1llsen's going to land a rail from the bridge and then just make his way on over to the mega. Cypher's going to be there to fight for it, but two beautiful rockets, one up the pipe and then the other one sticking Cypher to the wall, and that will be k1llsen's second frag here on TM6.
Oh man, knocking him down with the railgun too. Cypher is lucky to escape that one, but he won't for very long. And now k1llsen should be able to secure both of them, I feel like. I don't think Cypher is even going to risk pushing mega. Indeed, he's in no position to do so, and he knows this. I also really can see the utility of Slash coming out when Railgun has been so important for both of these players, right? Because with Slash you can so easily do the bridge to rail jump and get it consistently. It's like a no-brainer. And while it is possible to do it with other champions like Visor, it's tricky and you need to have a really good lineup, solid strafe jumps to make it across, so it's not a reliable strategy for Cypher at all, and that's been helping k1llsen a lot just to get that railgun time and time again.
k1llsen does give up the Mega there, but lands a rocket in the process. He's a bit lower, and we are seeing Cypher land these rail angles that are helping him out. k1llsen kind of sliding underneath, but he, like, having 3 frags on this map is a really nice pillow, right? I mean, Cypher is going to need to nail those rails. And there's the rocket jump up to the top. He's given chase now. Trailed with a little bit of damage. Rocket coming down, but Cypher does land in the blood and gets the LG frag, making it 3-1. Cypher's on the board now. Can he capitalize, Flea? He's doing what he needs to do, but I think he's got to be aware of what k1llsen could do, run away with the lead. So hoping he could at least scrap 1 frag here off of that frag, convert 1 frag. We'll see what happens.
I like what you said about the frag cushion on a different map with different champions. 3 frags, it's almost negligible at times. It's really nothing comfortable. But on Blood Covenant, when you're playing Slash against a Visor, yeah, that is a pretty comfy pillow indeed. Now Cypher did, of course, get that 1 frag. Oh, k1llsen playing with fire right there. He was railable. But Cypher missing the shots that matter the most, and it allows k1llsen to convert beautifully. Sudden burst of aggression to Cypher. No, that ain't it, boy.
Oh, no. He must have thought he was much lower than he actually was, but that's the worst kind of frag to give up, right? You absolutely did not need to do that, but that was the choice that was made, and that will make it a 4-frag lead, and that pillow's getting fluffier, Flea, and that is a scary thing as we're about to hit the halfway mark of this matchup. Now, Cypher, 1 on the board, but once again, you die. He doesn't have a rail right now. He just did grab one, but right, you've kind of got to start all over. And when you're up against a champion that's got speed on their side too, it's just they're not going to make your job easy.
I fear for Cypher, massively so at this point, especially when I look at how calculated k1llsen has been going about this. The rails that k1llsen has been landing, those are the kind of rails that you would expect the Visor to hit, reads. Like him just setting up, perfectly lining up his crosshair where he's expecting his opponent to be, and then just landing the shot like that. That is what you would expect Visor to be able to do in this matchup. That is what Visor needs to do to be competitive. But instead, it's k1llsen doing what Cypher needs to secure the win. I really don't know if there's anything he can do, even though there's 4 minutes for 5 frags. Still plenty of time, but yeah. How do you break k1llsen at this level?
I mean, I really don't know how Cypher did all that as aggressive as he was, but I mean, it worked. He was low. He got the frag. He made it a 4-frag game now, and this 1 step closer. I was about to say, Flea, like, I'm a little worried that Cypher's just kind of like just letting it go at this point, but he clearly has some sort of a plan here as he's keeping himself alive, looking through his eyes now. Those rails are just going to be crucial. Mega's up, but k1llsen's going to grab it there. Piercing sight comes out, and he's waiting for him, trying to line something up, but the tri-bolt's coming pretty big for k1llsen too. I think he's the only one who's really done anything with it in this match.
And then when the piercing sight does come out, it's k1llsen who walks away with the damage still. That's like k1llsen realized that the sight was deployed, so he just stood still. Knew he was in perfect cover, knew there was absolutely nothing Cypher could do, and then at the very end, just as it expires, he fires a tri-bolt, hoping that Cypher will go in for a peek, and exactly, that's what he did. k1llsen is just controlling everything about this matchup at this point, and what can Cypher do? He needs nothing short of a miracle at this stage.
I completely agree, because with every second that ticks down, suddenly speed is the real enemy of cypher. And it's frustrating. It's been there before. I know every single person watching has been in this situation, pro or casual alike, where you're too far behind. The clock is running out, and you're up against someone who's faster than you, and that can traverse the map much quicker than you can. It is beyond frustrating, and continues to play so well. There's a nice rail in the air, but the LG cleanup by k1llsen, that's going to make it 2-7. And at this point, I have to ask if it's even possible when you're playing against Slash to come back 5 frags.
Yeah, I'm doubtful. k1llsen he's not dropping a beat. Hasn't done so in a while. Again, Railgun is just dominating everything in k1llsen's arsenal. 700 damage with the rockets, 500 with the LG, 1,700 with Rail alone, 51% accuracy. k1llsen is just using that Rail to the fullest effect, and he's done an exquisite job at denying it from cypher. He knows that cypher doesn't have the same level of mobility, right? He's not playing against the Doomslayer, he's not playing against the Nyx or an Athena or anything like that. Cypher has to take the long way around to get Railgun, or essentially use a rocket to jump across. k1llsen has been perfectly denying it, and here, he's going to do it again. He's got the weapons that he knows cypher doesn't have. He just rushes in, does a bit of damage, and cypher has to go for the Railgun, and k1llsen just punishes him for it.
I mean, look, if you're keeping tabs on QPL Season 3 here in 2022, and you don't have k1llsen on your radar, if this second matchup, first week versus Avik, second week versus cypher, a complete dismantling of both of those players on Insomnia, and now a secondary follow-up. Now, Avik did take a map, but wow, is k1llsen just really showcasing an incredible amount of skill and dedication to this season already, and I'm really excited to see what he is going to do. I mean, it's obviously way too early to call anything in this in this season, but you better be keeping a close eye on k1llsen if you haven't been already. So there it is, the final seconds of this match. 2-12 is the final score, and I did not think we would have a 3-0, but gentlemen, here we are. k1llsen takes it 3-0 versus cypher. It was a wild matchup, even on that first one, 6-25 on map 1. Let's bring Ketchup in and catch up with him, find out what he thought. Ketchup 3-0, win to k1llsen. What do you think?
I mean, I'll be completely honest. On that first map, I went downstairs to make a sandwich, and then when I came up, it was 4 minutes in, and it was like 14-0. So that was a big moment for me. And then the remaining maps, that second map just displayed such clutch from k1llsen. And I'm going to be honest, it really made me feel kind of nostalgic, because you look at a map like Insomnia, which some players are kind of comparing to ZTN. And then you look at Blood Covenant with this Slash of this caliber. It kind of just made me feel semi-nostalgic, really, looking at k1llsen play maps of this caliber the way he's famous for. And I think that really is all I can say. I think there's no getting around the fact that it was a shocking result. I did not expect it to be 3-0. Most of us expected 2-1. But k1llsen just continuing to bring that A game. And this is why, when k1llsen's on form, it feels like he's world champion material.
Absolutely, and I mean, we've seen k1llsen hoist the belt in the past, right? He has absolutely been a top contender. Results speak for himself. I mean, last time in the previous stage, he was #1 in all of Europe at the end of the stage, and then of course he managed to get a top 4 finish in the Quake World Championships as well. So he's really just continuing that legacy and pushing ever further on. So k1llsen is looking to be in incredible shape moving forward.
Can we just take a moment to call out this pleb in chat who just said, wonder who would win an actual balanced Quake where there's no speed demon champions? What are you talking about? Get out of here. These two guys are amazing. That was an amazing matchup. Shut up. Come on. It was a great matchup. The comeback by Awoken, or by cypher on Awoken, was really nice, but k1llsen in top form. I mean, he looked great. He is the European to beat right now, and you know, I was incredibly entertained the entire time. I'll watch k1llsen's skills all day long.
I don't know about you, Wheat, but this game's been out for 5 years. If you're watching a game that you dislike, what are you doing with your life? I believe we're going to have an interview with k1llsen very, very soon, though, which is going to be super sick. Cannot wait for that. There's so much to talk about, as we really have only just kind of kicked off this entire pretty much year-long season. And we're already seeing players getting back into their phenomenal shape. The practice is intense. Even k1llsen alone, the amount of streaming he's been doing leading up to these weeklies, and no doubt he's going to continue. There's just so much entertainment to absorb, but what you do get to see is, you know, any kind of little hidden tricks that they might be planning for the weeklies. And if then, maybe there's stuff they're not streaming, you know, there might be some hidden stuff under the water. You know?
Absolutely. Are we gonna get k1llsen?
Yes,
Yeah,
I've
so.
just been informed that we've got k1llsen on the line, and we're ready to do an interview with the man of the hour, k1llsen. Hello.
Hey.
So first of all,
Congrats.
congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll just do that thing, chaps, where we'll just take it in turns and cycle across. First question I have for you, k1llsen, talking about the new hotness, right? We have a new map in play, and you're really kind of pioneering Insomnia so far. And I mean, based on your own findings and the fact that you have clearly streamed a fair amount of it compared to what I've seen from other players, what are your opening thoughts on what Insomnia is doing to the current rotation? You know, what do you think of the map?
Oh, you know, like the past practice games. I mean, I practiced a bit with base. You know, this specific matchup, and I was more thinking about maybe I'm not gonna like this map in the end. But now, you know, having like this, you know, kind of sweep over cypher would, you know, I mean, it was insane, right? Like the accuracies I've been hitting there and predicting him so well, but it also comes down that his knowledge on the map hasn't been that deep. So yeah, I just knew how to play when he does what exactly, you know.
Okay, well, k1llsen, first of all, I just want to say 15 rails in a row for 100% accuracy. Never seen anything like that in the Quake Pro League to date. That was
really?
absolutely insane.
Did I?
Yeah, you were 100% accuracy after 15 shots, so that's quite notable. But as for my question, I just want to ask, is this going to be your season? Because I remember interviewing you in the past and you were like, these maps are not to my liking. I can already tell that this isn't going to be it. But now, there's no Blood Run, there's Insomnia, which clearly seems to be right up your alley. Blood Covenant is back. Do you feel like you've got what it takes to really top the scoreboards these seasons?
I mean, I mean, I do know I always have what it takes. But yeah, sometimes, you know, day or feel just is not on your side. You know, anything can happen at any moment, especially with how abilities are working. So you know, on another day, it could this matchup could have been cyphers, to be fair. So I mean, of course, like always, will try to do my best anytime I can, and that's just the most important to me. Even if I lose, at least I have to, you know, be able to say to myself, look in the mirror, I did what I can this moment, and then, you know, it's absolutely fine when someone just played better.
k1llsen, congratulations. Last week I asked you what percentage you felt like you were playing at, and you said like 70-something%. What was today's percentage? Because it can't be any lower than what your railgun percentage was on Insomnia. It was 51 shots, and I think like 79 or 70. I'm not sure, but what percentage? The chat also needs to know what percentage k1llsen did we see today?
I mean, I to be fair, I think on Insomnia, I've been on 90, maybe even a little more. The rest
So
of the
that
match,
wasn't unusual for you.
it happens quite often overall, actually.
Okay.
Like to have these kind of percentages. Like for me, it really became something normal because I just love the gun and to shoot it and to use it. So I do also place like that on the map, on areas. So it's a little based on that also, that allows me to hit these kind of percentages. So makes the overall accuracy a little easier then.
Got it. Let me ask you just then a quick little follow-up question, because so far when we've seen you play that map, we haven't seen anyone else control that center. So I just want you to play hypothetical situation here. Hypothetical situation, k1llsen, you're not in control. Someone else is there. You are not playing Ranger. What champion are you playing, and how do you regain control there? Or what's your thought process behind it?
I mean, against Solek would be quite difficult overall, actually, because he can maneuver around the map quite well. And if my opponent does know the map really well, Solek is quite a difficult opponent to play against. But overall, yeah, it's tough right now. Like, it's still early for the map, so we still don't know about what the meta is gonna look like in the end. And there's still a lot more possible. I mean, Ranger overall is just being a solid pick, and it showed in the past over and over again. And I mean, this time I made it work. Who knows? Maybe next time it's not gonna work. So, and I do know. I think in the next match, don't we see another Insomnia?
I don't know. I hope
We'll have
so.
to double check the picks. I think we have a document.
do.
I'll consult it over the break, but I know the players are in the lobby. That much for sure. But it's not map 1, because we're hovering over Vale. But you know what, k1llsen, thank you so much for joining us again. Always a pleasure to watch you play.
Congrats,
I know you
man.
stream all the time, and if anyone wants to check out k1llsen, by all means go and subscribe, support, and all that good stuff, because great place to learn from, and keeping a keen eye on the matches to come. Thank you so much, k1llsen.
Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, but as I just said, the players are actually in the lobby for our next matchup and final matchup of the day, Rafa versus Base. We're going to go for a quick 5. When we come back, our final match of the day will continue. See you in a bit.